everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm excited to be joined again by my friend Michael Vincent. We work together on fuel reduction, emissions reduction, and plastics waste reduction, all with monetary gains. How are you doing today, Michael?
I'm doing fabulous. Hey, it's great to be here again. And listen, notice my background's a little bit different, right?
Yes.
These are the fabulous North American headquarters for OPT USA Incorporated. Very stylish. I'd take you on a tour of the offices, but it's just more of the same bland white walls in about 100 square foot office.
We're gonna have to get some of your linen posters and your cravats, Lenny Kravitz, and who else?
Yeah.
Some of that stuff going on there with your guitar and all that good stuff.
Yeah, eventually. I've got a gift coming from a luthier friend of mine. Guy's name's Bruce Bennett. Look him up. Go to Hot Rod's guitar shop or Hard Road Guitars. Bruce has been a luthier here in Chattanooga for like 48 years or something crazy like that.
Wow.
But he's worked on all my guitars and done a lot of stuff for me. And his support is he's making me an OPT USA Strat.
Oh, so, wow, really?
Yeah, it's almost done. So I haven't seen it yet, but it's supposed to be really cool, and I can't wait. And we'll show it on TV or on our podcast here when we get it done.
But absolutely, we will.
It'll be awesome. It'll be awesome.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm used to all of your on air and guitar and posters and everything in the background, so it definitely is a different look, but I'm sure it'll be evolving.
it'll get there. Yeah, my other play, I've got my Dundees there and my Gravity Falls hat and Sasquatch and all that other kind of stuff. But we'll get there.
Absolutely. Well, today we're going to be talking about up to $100,000 tax credit or $1 per gallon of fuel. So those are pretty significant things.
Is that like a trick question where it's like you want $1 million or a penny a day doubled every day for 30 days? Is that what I'm trying to figure out? I'm trying to do math in my head. Do I want the $100,000 or I don't want $1 per gallon?
If you did it just the right way, you could actually do both. So it's not an either or, but it is two different things. So let me just kind of jump in a little bit on it. So there is a thing called the biodiesel income tax credit. It was originally set to expire on December 31st of last year, but it's been extended through December 31st of 2024. So I'm going to read from this Department of Energy website here. A taxpayer that delivers pure unblended biodiesel B100 into the tank of a vehicle or uses B100 as an on-road fuel in their trade or business may be eligible for an incentive in the amount of $1 per gallon of biodiesel, agribiodiesel, or renewable diesel. $1 per gallon.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty good. But what do we know what biodiesel costs?
Yeah, it's generally speaking less.
Is it really?
Yeah. Okay. Most of them. It depends on what you're making it with. Of course, there's all kinds of different biodiesel.
Yeah, if you make it so it's not like it's $7 a gallon, but you get $1 back, right?
If you make it off of Tennessee whiskey excise or something like that, it might be real expensive. But if you make it off of like canola oil, I'm sure it's quite a bit less, right? So, I'm sure you'd have to figure out the math, of course. But
okay, so if I'm reading this right, though, this is the average Joe Blow going up to the pump isn't going to pump B100 in and get $1, right?
You have to deliver it into the tank.
Well, it says deliver it or use in an off-road fuel in a trade or business. So I guess it's like a business incentive. So if I were using this in my fleet,
yes,
I could get this. But just me walking up there with a diesel pickup truck isn't going to get it.
No, it's basically saying only the person that sold the fuel and placed it into the tank of the vehicle is eligible for that one. Gotcha. So that one. Gotcha. So you have to have sold it, put it into the tank of a vehicle in order to get that biodiesel income tax credit. Now, there's another one
with
though.
the registered certificate from the biodiesel producer and all that stuff, right? So there's
Yes,
a
it
lot
has
of
to.
proof that gets going into this.
That's
So they're
true.
kind of thinking this one through, other than, remember the loan program during the pandemic where they were just like, hey,
Here's a check.
yeah. And you had, what was his name? Arkansas Mo or something hiding diamonds in Northwest Georgia or something like that he bought with it. I forget. He was like burying it and stuff.
Yeah, there are some regulations. It
Yeah.
has to meet ASTM standard D6751 or D975 or D396. There's some stipulations. You can't just go out there and get some canola oils, set up a stand on the side of the road and go, I've got biodiesel, and then put it into somebody's tank and expect to get paid. Right? That's not the way this program
right.
works.
Right. I got you. And it has to be 100%. It's got to be pure unblended.
Pure unblended, B100, B100%.
I wonder why that is. Can you not deliver blended fuel to somebody? I mean, that is a thing, right? You can have like 50% biodiesel in diesel, right? I mean, it is interchangeable, right? So
yep,
why the designation that it has to be pure? I mean, is that an incentive to get people like Pilot Flying J and stuff to put in pumps that are straight up biodiesel instead of like up to 10% ethanol type of stuff or whatever? Is that the goal there? Or?
Yep, it looks like it. I mean, I think so. I think it's the goal is to move more biodiesel.
Yeah, right? And you don't just get a credit for having a certain percentage of it be biodiesel. I guess.
Nope.
Although one wonders how much more successful it would be if you had a percentage type of thing. I don't know. Is it easier to run a percent in blended or straight up bio? I don't know.
Well, here's the thing with biodiesel. You lose fuel economy.
Oh.
So the higher you go with the biodiesel, the more impactful it has in a negative direction on fuel economy. So as you know, Michael, you and I work together on fuel economy improvement. One of the things that we're doing and talking with a lot of companies about is biodiesel blends normally take the fuel economy down, but we're reversing that. So you can get these, tax credits and different things, and at the same time, reduce your fuel consumption, right? So there's all kinds of grants and programs available.
So you can bump 100% pure, like B100 or whatever it is, right? Unblended biodiesel, and then use the CyberFuels additive, which goes into your tank. We're not messing with the engine in any way or anything like that, like some technology does, right? But it's right in. And then you can get your buck a gallon back or write off, basically, right? Your tax credit of a buck a gallon, and use up to 20% less fuel, right?
Yep. So what we found.
I mean, so the tests with the CyberFuels, is it relatively the same impact as far as getting the energy of the molecule on biodiesel out extracted more efficiently as it is with regular diesel? Or
the interesting thing that we found is that the dirtier the diesel, so biodiesel is a dirty diesel, the dirtier the diesel, the more impactful it is. So
no kidding.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. The dirtier the diesel is, the more impactful and the better the fuel economy is. So it's we are in for some really interesting times ahead, my friend.
I guess we are. I mean, that's wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So what? Okay. I love it. I mean, is that the same? Is the same in the emissions? Do you find the same ratio with the particulate matter, the exhaust as well? Is that the dirtier, the better the impact? Or
I have not done, or we have not done a biodiesel emissions reduction test on an analyzer.
I got you. Okay.
So I cannot speak to that yet.
But you're looking at 20% or whatever. I mean, depending on the use of the vehicle, right? But you look up to 20+% in fuel savings. That's tremendous.
Yep, we're averaging 20% fuel economy improvement.
Awesome.
So yes,
even on the biodiesel.
Yep.
We'll get your credit. So okay, there's my dollar. You talked about the dollar, but you got me to click because you got me something about $100,000 was
right.
Was that baloney or what is that?
No, it's not. It's not just clickbait. It's there's the alternative fuel infrastructure tax credit. So, beginning January 1st, 2023, fueling equipment for natural gas, propane, hydrogen, electric, E85 or diesel fuel blends containing a minimum of 20% biodiesel. So, minimum of 20% biodiesel is eligible for a tax credit of 30% of the cost of that equipment or 6% in the case of property subject to depreciation, not to exceed $100,000. So there's a way you can do this and get $100,000 right off.
I want to know who's blending biodiesel with electricity.
No, I don't think anybody's doing that. I can see a lot of fire problems if you tried to mix electric and a biodiesel plant.
Is there a hybrid? Is there a hybrid Volvo out there I don't know about that's electricity and biodiesel?
But it's just interesting. All of this is from the U.S. Department of Energy and the U.S. Internal Revenue Service. And there's obviously a push, right? They want to get away from traditional fossil fuel and introduce more biodiesels and alternative fuels. Obviously, that's the goal of this.
Of course, yeah.
And so it just every week, every month, I keep seeing more and more and more. We're going to do this. We're going to do this grant. We're pushing this. We're going to do this tax credit. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Andy, that's that's the thing, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that don't understand when they look at these like the Biden administration's EPA bill that came out in December, right? And it had a lot of this stuff in it, right? Now we're starting to see some of the results of that coming out. Those tax incentives and tax credits and that type of stuff. This is what they're spending the money on, right? These are the things they're spending. And it's incredibly important to give those incentives because government and the Biden administration, Kamala Harris isn't going to be out there putting up, electricity wires and installing EV, charging stations. Private enterprise needs to get involved to make this stuff happen. Otherwise, and worldwide, otherwise we're not going to hit those goals. They have to be there. So those incentives have to be out there and well known. And I'm glad you're bringing these things up because we talk about these and there's fun with little jokes. How can you buy biodiesel and electricity? You can't blend that stuff, obviously.
Right.
But it's really important that people understand that these are out there because these incentives, this is what's going to drive us forward. And it's still going to take a number of years to make this happen. And it's extremely important to understand them and who's involved and how do you get how do you take advantage of these, right? I mean, this is the way we got to go. And just saying, hey, suck it up and pay and spend more money isn't going to get it, right? Because when it comes down to it, money, unfortunately, rules almost all the time.
Yeah, money talks. It helps pay the bills, that's for sure. But yeah, absolutely. It does. So like you said, when the government gets involved in incentivizing things and tax credits and paybacks and things like that, more and more people are going to adopt it, of course. Absolutely. Did you ever see any of the documentaries about the Dust Bowl here in Oklahoma and Kansas?
I mean, the little information film strips when I was like in grade school. Yeah.
Well, the reason I bring it up is the government got involved and changed things with agriculture in that time to eliminate the no breaks, no tree lines, no wind breaks, all those things, and revitalize the whole area, basically, really. But
and it's the alternative farming too, or the What do you call it?
Rotating the farming,
rotating crops. Yeah,
using natural grasses that grow in the region on certain sections of land, and not just plowing for 150 miles in one direction. Right. It was quite a few different things, but they basically came in and incentivized people to get on board and do their alternative methods of farming and so forth. And of course, they put money behind it too. Sure. It changed. Lo and behold, it changed everything.
Yeah, no, it helped improve things. The other thing that I find interesting in this is there was a McKinsey and Company report that talked about two different things, and one of them with the difficulties in sustainability and moving forward in all aspects of it, whether it be recycling or alternative fuels and alternative energies. One of the things in there was the sustainability gap and the empowerment gap. And what it is across the world, a little over 40% of all the households in the world cannot afford sustainability that needs to happen by 2050. Can't happen. They're not going to happen. So what they're saying is government and private industry has to find a way in order to incentivize and build up the economies from the bottom of the pyramid up and not the pyramid down as far as people, right? Most people like Lexus and not to disparage Lexus or anything, but most go to the most money and the most affluent and the most best ability to buy your product at a high profit rate, right? But if you can affect that bottom down up, now you've got the bottom layer of society or the bottom of the pyramid supporting your company. Now you've got sustainability and real growth. And that's what they're talking about here. And within these bills, if you go deeper into these bills and these tax credits that you're talking about, Andy, they're talking about that, right? So these incentives for dispensing propane and hydrogen and electricity and E85 and biodiesel fuels and stuff like that, part of the stipulations there is that one, like this, a population census tract where the poverty rate is at least 20%, right?
Yep.
Or a metropolitan and non-metropolitan area census tract where the median family income is less than 80% of the state median family income. So they're incenting people to improve the economic welfare of the bottom of the pyramid. And I mean, this makes perfect sense. And it's one of these things I learned from a lady who was a C-level at Dow Chemical for years, taught me about the bottom of the pyramid thought process and how that uplifts a company and society at the exact same time. It's just really good business sense that most lose in their sight to where they're trying to go. And it's right there in plain sight. This is a perfect application of it.
Yep, absolutely. If you're affecting that massive population, it's going to move the needle. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. The affluent can't. If the affluent can afford to go sustainable, okay, great. But if the bottom of the pyramid can't,
1%, 2%, it
doesn't work if the bottom of the pyramid can't do it.
Yep. It doesn't move the needle, as I call it. Move the needle. I say that too much. Move the needle.
Well, I mean, in some cases you want to move the needle, but here's if you're using CyberFuels, that needle move much less.
That's right. Slow the needle. Don't move the needle. Slow the needle.
Slow it down. Slow that needle down.
That's right. Well, it's really interesting to watch all this stuff come out. And this is a very, very long article with grants and tax credits and all kinds of incentives. But it's just interesting to watch. Like you said, it's kind of starting to unfold and be introduced and so forth. So more to come on this, I'm sure, as we move forward with biodiesels, alternative fuels, and other things. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Did you see Maersk took delivery of their first methanol ship?
Yes, I did see a little news blip about that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So now they have, with their orders, they'll have like 25 dedicated vessels to a green fuel, methanol, e-methanol, I guess it is.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Absolutely. And we do things with methanol as well. So with CyberFuels. So we're, as you know, Michael, we're moving along with the industry and with the regulations and so forth. But people can save money right now, reduce your fuel consumption, reduce emissions. They can reduce their plastics waste and make, better profit margins, right? Make better profit margins on the things you produce while going greener, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're here. We're solving that supply chain for plastics, making the circularity of recycled plastics a reality and making it much more economical and efficient for industry. Because that's part of the problem. The big problem is it's not reliable it is a broken infrastructure, and it's very, very expensive because it is broken. It's not a complete cycle. It's not hooked together. There's a missing cog there, which is what we're doing at OPT USA is replacing that cog. So, or creating that cog that completes the circle.
Right. Absolutely. Well, we're living in exciting times, and thanks again for coming on with me, Michael.
Always, brother. Always. You kidding me?
So that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for listening or watching, everybody. We will do it again soon. Between now and then, take care, everybody.
Amen. Peace and love.